thank you to Chime for sponsoring.
No free ads.
Dennis Smith Jr. According to many... What's up guys, Mike here, and in the past we've looked at NBA players who had star potential and then for whatever reason completely fell off. And in today's video we are going to be doing the same thing, but we are going to be focusing on recent players. That's right, we have 4 recent players who in the last few years showed all-star or even star level potential and then for whatever reason fell off. So let's begin this video off with number 4, Dennis Smith Jr. According to many NBA scouts, Dennis Smith Jr. was supposed to be one of the biggest steals in the 2017 NBA draft, because at pick number 9, Dennis showed a real star potential as he not only was immediately compared to 3-time All-Star Steve Francis, but overall, scouts just felt that Dennis's combination of athleticism and scoring ability was going to fit in perfectly at the NBA level. To be fair, according to 247 Sports, Dennis was the number 7 recruit in the nation in high school, and then in college he was the ACC's Freshman of the Year after averaging a more than solid 18.1 points, 6.2 assists, and 1.9 steals a game. What I mean by this is that hype surrounding Dennis Smith Jr. was not surprising, and after the draft, ESPN would go as far as to write an article stating, introducing Dennis Smith Jr., the future face of the Mavs franchise. And Smith himself had all of the confidence in the world, stating that he should have been the number 1 pick with these words. You could say that because I believe that I'm the best player, as should everybody else. They do their work, but I definitely took it as an insult. Then came the Summer League, and as we all know, the Summer League can be very deceiving when it comes to a player's skills. That's what happened with Dennis Smith Jr., as during the summer of 2018, Dennis averaged 17.3 points and 4.2 assists per game while shooting around 46% from the field. More than solid numbers, and people left Las Vegas thinking that Dennis was going to be great. This summer included a game against the Kings where De'Aaron Fox, a fellow point guard and the number 5 pick in the 2017 draft, finished with 0 points in 7.5 minutes, while Dennis Smith Jr. put up 25 points and 7 rebounds, making yet another statement in a string of big-time Summer League performances. Damn. By the time the Summer League was over, this is what scouts were saying. Scout 1, he was perhaps the most explosive player in the draft. Scout 2, I had Smith number 2 on my board. Definitely think the questions over his leadership and record were overstated. That team was a complete mess last year. I think he's going to be pretty damn good. Scout 3, I've loved him since he was in high school. He's athletic, skilled, and always in attack mode. Reminds me of Steve Francis and Baron Davis. If he stays healthy, he will be
You be watching Jimmy High Roller? We're watching Jimmy High Roller right now, no?
We've seen this before. A player kills it in high school, college, and the Summer League, then they're trash when it comes to the real NBA. Only Dennis did average 15.2 points and 5.2 assists per game in his rookie season on about 40% shooting. He was also named to the NBA's all-rookie second team, and all of this certainly seemed promising, right? So what went wrong? Well, for one thing, a lot of Dennis's early success in the NBA can be attributed to the simple good stats on a bad team scenario. The Mavericks only won 24 games in Smith's rookie season, and so a lot of people have later deemed that Dennis was putting up empty stats. He also, as a rookie, was not the best shooter, but not the worst either, as he shot around 31% from 3 in about 5 attempts per game. The problem is that as time went on, his shooting never really improved, and because of this, he became very predictable to NBA defenses. And speaking of defense, that might be Dennis's biggest problem, as every fan of every team he's ever played on will tell you the man was and is not a good defender, and again, this went against him hard, as did his confusing 2019 season, as once the Mavs brought in Luka Doncic, it was clear that Luka was going to be the guy with the ball in his hands, not Dennis. This portion of my video is sponsored by always to put it to an on fun side bit, click out the ball workout at all for Dennis, as he simply is not the type of player who thrives playing off the ball, and it showed, as in Dennis's second season he averaged.
Why do women like getting trains ran on them? I don't know. Why do women like that? Any women who... I'm about to tweet that. Actually, no, because I'm okay. I'm not going to ask that. Because then they going to be like, why do you want to know? And I'm going to be like, I don't know. I'm just curious. And then they going to be like, go find out. And I have no rebuttal for that. So I'm not asking that.
just 13.6 points and 4.8 assists per game, numbers that were down from his rookie season, and he was also traded to the Knicks, where at this point in time, his offense just abandoned him. Even when finishing at the rim, something he did at a 60% rate according to Basketball Reference's rookie season, at the rim in year 3, Dennis shot just 54% and overall shot just 34% from the field. From there, Dennis would ask to play in the G League because he wasn't getting enough minutes in the NBA, an admirable move, I think, but it hasn't helped at all, as Dennis Smith Jr. has gone from a potential draft steal to now a man who just signed a training camp deal with the Blazers, a huge drop off for a top 10 pick. Number 3, Thon Maker. Now, speaking of top 10 picks, Thon Maker is a great addition to this list because if you've been following this channel, you know he is kind of a meme here. The reason being that at one point I did make a video where I talked about how Thon says he's a future MVP and how Kevin Garnett agreed with him, but I will admit, I did hype up Thon in that video too. And unfortunately, Thon has been the complete opposite of an NBA MVP since that article was written. Now, just listen to the hype that Thon had, as this article's title was, Kevin Garnett says Bucks Thon Maker will be an MVP one day. Quote, he has the bones. Garnett believed this after working with Thon himself and hearing what the Bucks had to say, as Milwaukee was putting Thon through a similar training situation to the one they put Giannis through. It was believable that Thon was going to make some kind of big jump. Now keep in mind, Thon only averaged 4 points and 2 rebounds a game during his rookie season, so the fact that Kevin Garnett believed in Thon this much was huge for Bucks fans. I mean, just think of it. If the Bucks could get an all-star level player out of Thon Maker, they would be unstoppable. They already won the championship this season without him, and back then, we had Kevin Garnett saying the following: Thon Maker reminds me a lot of myself. He loves the game. He's a young, exuberant athlete who has a lot of tools. He has touch, he has agility, he has really good feet. He has a really good shot from 3-point all the way up to 19 to 21 feet. He has very good bones, as we say. Thon is going to be the MVP of the league one day. Mark it down. He has the bones. He has the appetite to be able to chase something like that. So after all of these words, we have to ask, what went wrong? Well, maybe Thon lied about his age. I have covered that conspiracy on this channel. Basically, the conspiracy goes that Thon is much older than he was saying when he got drafted, and that's why he is not developed as he should, because he is just a much older player. However, it's also very, very possible that Thon just did not develop like the Bucks would have wanted. One of Thon's biggest problems was defense in general and fouling. As per 36 minutes in his rookie season, Thon averaged 5.4 fouls a night and still averaged 4.7 fouls per 36 minutes in 2020. Thon just did not have the basketball IQ and feel for the game that makes a great player, and on offense that also showed as his overall.
Messiah, appreciate the 14 months. Appreciate a gift sub to Pokemon. And then appreciate the 5 gift subs. You got a gift sub from my man's Messiah. Hit him in his whisper. Say thank you, Dad, because the nigga's your father. For real, for real. Why'd you give Pokemon? I'm not gonna lie.
Offensive game was just not there as often. It was clear Thon just doesn't have great basketball instincts, and he has stone hands whenever a hard pass comes his way. So all in all, Thon Maker was never close to an MVP. He actually just signed a contract with an Israeli team, so I think we can all agree that as a former top 10 pick, Thon is a bust. Go ahead, pile on in the comments. I hope nothing but the best for him. Number 2, Marvin Bagley. Okay, I get it. Marvin Bagley is clearly the most controversial player on this list because he could still become an all-star. As we all know, the Kings have not exactly had the best situation.
Mia Malkova? Damn, nigga. Vibey Drew, appreciate the resub, buddy.
Going on. But for now, let me explain why I do think that even though he is young, Marvin Bagley falls into the category of players who have fallen off. And the main reason for this comes when we compare him to his high school and college hype. Because there was a time where Marvin Bagley was not only seen as the potential #1 pick over DeAndre Adin, Luka Doncic, and Trey Young, but also he went number 2 to the Kings over Luka and Trey. In fact, I want to go a little deeper here to talk about just how hyped up Marvin Bagley was. Because in high school, Marvin Bagley was seen as a superstar from the age of 14, the age when he received his first scholarship offer. From there, Marv would obliterate his opponents, which meant that he was not only the #1 recruit in the nation for his class, the class of 2018 over Zion Williamson, but also when Marvin reclassified and moved up a grade to the year 2017, he became the top recruit as well over DeAndre Adin, Michael Porter Jr., and other players such as Trey.
That nigga look goofy.
Trey Young. So it is because of these reasons that
this is a crazy picture. Chat, look at this nigga. Nah, that nigga funny looking. Gluck, appreciate the gift sub to Zendaya.
Michael Porter Jr., and other players such as Trae Young. So it is because of these reasons that I can say Marvin Bagley has fallen off. This is a man who was one of the top prospects in the nation for a long time, and now I'm not sure if he would go top 7 if the NBA were to redraft the 2018 draft. And I want to just keep hammering this point home. When Marvin was in high school and even in college, he was not only seen as just as good as some of the top young players in the NBA today, but he was also seen as better than them. Even at Duke, Marvin was the ACC Player of the Year and a first-team All-American, so he did have a great career in college, which means we have to find out what has been going on with Marvin Bagley's NBA career. And to start off, Marvin did have a good rookie season with averages of 14.9 points and 7.6 rebounds per game. The problem, though, was that Marvin was seen as an offense-only player who really could not shoot the basketball that well. Now, this is a fixable skill, and I think personally if Marv does develop a three-point shot, he is going to have the type of offensive potential to become an all-star. But the facts are facts here, and from 10 to 16 feet as a rookie, Marvin shot around 39%, and again, his defense just was not there. His effort on defense was not there. However, it was his rookie season, and he certainly had time to improve. But fast forward to year 3, and Marvin put up almost identical stats to his rookie season, so what went wrong? Well, if you were to ask Marvin, he would say that he's been playing for the wrong offense, and he suffered a bunch of injuries. And it certainly seems like the Kings and Marvin do not like each other at this time, but Marvin's injuries have actually been called into question by the media, as some have said that he's taken off more time than he needs to. I'm not exactly sure about that, but if that is true, then that feeds more into the fact that he does not like playing in Sacramento. Going even further with that, his dad actually tweeted at the Kings, "Please trade Marvin Bagley III ASAP," and the Kings tried. At the trade deadline, they attempted to make a move, but teams just were not interested enough in a player who looks like he has stayed as the same player from his rookie year to year 3. As again, in year 3, Marvin has averaged almost identical stats to his rookie season, only he's put up those stats on worse efficiency. And just listen to this, according to this article by Forbes, in his 3 seasons with the Kings, when healthy, his team has been 47-66, and when Marvin has been unhealthy, the Kings have actually had a winning record at 45-44. So hopefully with a new team, Marvin Bagley can return to at least some of his former glory, though to be honest, I've just got to say, I don't think he will ever return to the top of his class. So what I'm saying is he will always have fallen off a bit. But he is young, he could still become an all-star. I'm very interested to see where his career goes. Now, talking about a player I don't think will ever be an all-star, we have number 1, Jahlil Okafor. And I've got to say, it's not crazy to think that if Jahlil Okafor was drafted in the 1980s, Jahlil could have developed not only into an all-star, but I would say he could have become a legitimate NBA Hall of Famer. That's how good he was in college as a post-up big man, but as we all know, the type of player that Jahlil is and was has basically become extinct in the NBA today.
Facts.
A slow post-up offensive big man is just not what NBA teams need, which is why when looking back, it kind of seems puzzling that the 76ers would take Jahlil with the number 3 pick in the 2015 draft. But again, this video is about players that have fallen off, and when we look at the hype that Jahlil had coming into the NBA, we see that many people thought he was going to be a star. In high school, Jahlil was the consensus number 1 recruit in the nation, and then in college at Duke, he was not only the freshman of the year and a first-team All-American, but he also led his team to a national championship victory. That is how good Jahlil Okafor was at that point in time. He was a dominant college star that led his team to a title, which meant at this point in time, a lot of people were very high on Jahlil, except those people were not reading the tea leaves here. Because looking back, the 2015 draft was actually pretty monumental because of the Jahlil Okafor pick. It showed executives that even if you are a star in college and look like you could play in the NBA, if you're a big man and you're a back to the basket type of player that can't do the extra things like guard smaller players on the perimeter or knock down jump shots, it's going to be very hard to find a place for you on the court. So while yes, Jahlil's rookie season did seem promising, he did average 17.5 points and 7 rebounds per game on over 50% shooting, there were clear flaws in Jahlil's game that certainly finally showed themselves as his career went on. His rebound numbers as a center were always troubling, as was his rim protection, and that meant that after he tore his meniscus late in his rookie season, which took away even more of his mobility, things were all downhill for Jahlil Okafor from there. Because sure, Jahlil has found a role as a backup big man in this league, but he has never recaptured the glory he once had. After his first season in the NBA, Jahlil was named to the all-rookie first team, but now a man who was once deemed a future generational prospect in high school and in college has become a bust, we have to say. Because sure, Jahlil is still playing in the NBA.
If Book's not in here, if Book isn't in here, I'm ending stream.
And I told you time after time.
So little nigga straight up, baby.
No capping it. I'm letting you know right now. Stop playing with me.
Don't you take it personal.
I'm just saying.
I know daddy hurts the most.
Nah, for real.
Dad, you see me, I be